The sky was silent. No wind, no clouds. Just a still, deep blue above the alien planet of Trevon 9. Captain Zerquen stood tall on a black hill, looking down at the last city of resistance. He wore armor made from scale metal, and his skin, a smooth, silver gray, glowed in the morning sun. Behind him, rows of alien soldiers waited for the command. He raised one long arm. A signal flashed. From orbit, a giant alien ship opened its lower hatch. A beam of light shot down. Then came the weapon, the one the galaxy feared. Blue liquid poured like rain, but it wasn't water. It was something else. It had no name in human language, but the aliens called it Karnox. On contact, it burned. It sizzled through buildings. It melted trees. It crawled through vents, soaked into cloth, and burned flesh from bone. Screams echoed across the valleys. Within 7 minutes, the entire city was gone. Nothing left. No buildings, no life, only steam and blue puddles. Zerquen smiled. "This is how we end them," he said. "No war, no cost, just Karnox." His second-in-command nodded. "Should we target Earth next?" Zerquen frowned. Earth is noisy, primitive, still growing. They are not ready. We test elsewhere. And so the weapons spread. One by one, planets fell. Gorliath 2 collapsed in hours. Dren 5 vanished. Even iron-shelled species like the Karth couldn't survive Karnox. Entire worlds turned into silent blue graves until it reached Earth. It started as a drizzle over Alaska, quiet, gentle, unseen. The humans called it strange weather. No clouds, yet the rain came. Dr. Leah Monroe, a biochemist studying deep tundra bacteria, was the first to notice something was wrong, or maybe right. She stood outside her snow lab staring at the sky as drops of glowing blue water fell around. Her team panicked. "Dr. Monroe, don't touch it, get back inside." But she didn't move. One drop touched her coat. Nothing happened. Another drop hit her face. Still nothing. No burning, no melting. She blinked and raised her hand. A few drops landed on her glove and slid off like normal rain. The snow didn't melt. Her skin didn't sizzle. "What is this?" she whispered. Inside the lab, she tested the rain. Under the microscope, the liquid moved like it was alive. It had no known elements. It rejected all human labels, but it wasn't hostile, not to humans, not to her. In fact, when she added a sample of human blood, something incredible happened. The blue liquid turned gold for a second. Then it calmed. It didn't attack. It bonded. 3 days later, a boy named Eli from a small village in Greenland walked into a glowing puddle. The village had no idea Karnox had reached them. They thought it was just colored water, maybe chemicals in the snow. Eli's dog had barked at it, but Eli was curious. He knelt down, scooped the water in his hands, and drank it. Nothing happened. For 1 hour. Then, everything changed. His body became warmer, but not feverish. He said his head felt clear, like he could hear whispers in the snow. The dog stopped barking and laid beside him. The village elder, who had arthritis for 20 years, stood up pain-free after Eli touched his shoulder. The people thought it was a miracle. Meanwhile, back in space, the alien commanders grew confused. Karnox had touched Earth. It should have killed millions. Instead, it seemed absorbed. Commander Zerquen watched footage from orbit. "Why are they still alive?" he barked. His scientist Kalds shook his head. "Their bodies don't react like others. Karnox changes, it becomes passive around them." "Impossible. And worse," Kalds added. "A human drank it." Zerquen stared. "What happened to him?" "He's glowing." Word spread across secret military channels. Strange blue rain that kills aliens but leaves humans stronger. The U.S. government quietly sent elite units to investigate. One soldier, Sergeant Dale Cross, volunteered to test it. He stood in a sealed chamber. Medical staff watched from behind thick glass. They poured a full vial of Carnox into a metal cup. The liquid hissed, almost like it didn't want to be touched. Dale picked up the cup. "Any last words, Sergeant?" someone asked. Dale smiled. "Let's find out what makes us human." He drank it in one gulp. Everyone held their breath. Seconds passed. Then Dale groaned. He dropped to his knees. His body shook. Veins lit up blue under his skin. Suddenly, boom, the metal floor cracked. He stood up. His eyes glowed. His muscles grew. The room lights flickered. He looked at his hands. "I feel alive." Back at her lab, Dr. Monroe dug deeper. She discovered that human DNA reacts uniquely to Carnox. The liquid doesn't destroy, it transforms. In humans, it binds to cells, strengthening them, unlocking dormant abilities. But there was something else, something hidden in the Carnox structure. A signal, a repeating code. It wasn't natural, it was built. Someone had made Carnox. Designed it to kill, except for humans. Why? High above Earth, alien ships cloaked in orbit watched the chaos. More drops were released, but the more Carnox fell, the more humans it changed. Some grew faster, some became immune to cold, others heard distant voices. It was not a weapon anymore. It was a gift, or a test. Zerquen called an emergency council. "This cannot be," he said. "No species should resist Carnox. And yet, humans absorb it." One elder hissed, "Perhaps it was meant for them." Zerquen slammed the table. Carnox was forged to destroy. Who would build a weapon that helps their enemy? Back on Earth, children played in Carnox puddles without harm. In one case, a hospital sprayed diluted Carnox mist into patient rooms. Terminal patients began to recover. Broken bones healed in days. Some doctors tried to stop it, afraid it was a trick, but it was too late. The liquid was everywhere, and humans were changing, not all at once. Not like superheroes, but slowly, subtly, day by day. More energy, faster thinking, deeper instincts. Even plants around Carnox areas grew faster. Forests near Carnox lakes became brighter, thicker. Animals stopped attacking humans in those zones. It was like Earth itself was reacting. But not all was peaceful. Some humans became unstable. One man, after swimming in a Carnox river, became violent. His skin turned dark blue. His heartbeat could shake the walls. He screamed in a voice that wasn't his own. It took 10 soldiers to bring him down. The government realized something critical. Too much Carnox could turn humans into something else. Dr. Monroe spoke at a secret world summit. Carnox isn't just a weapon, it's a choice. We can use it to rise, or it will use us. One leader asked, "Do we destroy it?" She paused. "Can you destroy the rain?" No one answered. Far away, in a deep part of the ocean, blue lights glowed from the seafloor. A trench that had been silent for thousands of years suddenly bubbled. Creatures never before seen rose from the depths, glowing blue. One of them spoke. In perfect English, "Welcome back." The soldier stood still inside the glass chamber, bright lights above him. Scientists behind thick walls, cameras pointed at every angle. No one moved. Sergeant Dale Cross was the first human to drink Carnox, the deadly blue liquid made by aliens to kill everything. But somehow, it made humans stronger. Now, the world watched to see what would happen next. Dr. Leah Monroe stood in the observation room holding her breath. Her fingers trembled slightly as she gripped a tablet. She had tested Carnox on animals, on plants, even on soil, but this was different. This was a human life. "Sergeant Cross, A voice spoke through the intercom. "Are you ready?" He nodded slowly. "I was dead the moment I signed up for this," he said with a calm voice. "Let's see if Karnox agrees." The scientist lowered a robotic arm, holding a steel cup filled with pure Karnox into the chamber. The liquid moved unnaturally. It shifted and swirled inside the cup like it was alive. It gave off a low hum, almost like a warning. Dale didn't flinch. He picked up the cup, held it to his lips, and drank it all. For 5 seconds, nothing happened. Then Dale groaned and fell to one knee. His eyes squeezed shut. Sweat rolled down his face. His veins turned dark blue, glowing beneath the skin. His hands shook. Monitors beeped like alarms. "Shut it down," one scientist shouted. "No," Dr. Monroe said, eyes locked on the screen. "Look at his heart rate. It was rising, yes, but steady, controlled." And then something impossible happened. Dale stood up. His eyes opened. They were glowing, bright blue. The glass wall beside him cracked with a loud snap. He didn't touch it. "Dale," Monroe spoke, softly into the mic. "Are you okay?" He turned to the camera. His voice was deep, calm, and strange. "I can hear everything." 1 hour later, he was out of the chamber. Doctors ran every test possible. Blood, brain, strength, reflexes. Dale's body was faster, stronger. His muscles rebuilt themselves twice as fast. His bones, tested through scans, were now harder than steel. But the strangest part wasn't his body, it was his mind. Dale began speaking languages he didn't know. He solved puzzles in seconds. He described machines that hadn't been invented yet, and sometimes he would stop and stare into space, as if listening to a voice no one else could hear. "Are you hearing something now?" Dr. Monroe asked him. One evening, Dale nodded slowly. "They're not voices, not like human ones. They're memories, but not mine." Back on the alien flagship above Earth, Commander Zerquen slammed his hand onto the table. The news had reached him. One human had drunk Karnox and lived. "This should not be possible," he growled. Kals, the alien scientist, trembled. "The liquid is changing. It no longer obeys us. The more it touches humans, the more it adapts." Zerquen narrowed his eyes. "It's not adapting. It's choosing." The silence that followed was heavy. Finally, Zerquen stood. "Send a probe to the Earth surface. I want samples. I want that human." Meanwhile, Sergeant Dale Cross was moved to a secure military base in Nevada. The press didn't know. The public was told he had retired, but behind steel doors he trained daily. His body could now lift a tank. He could run 70 miles per hour. He could survive sub-zero temperatures without a suit. And still, the Karnox inside him changed. It grew, not like a virus, more like a companion. He said it spoke through feelings, not words. He knew when danger was near. He knew when someone lied. He even knew when something from space was watching him. Dr. Monroe had questions. Too many. So she returned to the Karnox. Origin. The original puddle found in Alaska, but this time the puddle had grown into a lake. It was deep now, quiet, blue as the night sky. The snow around it was untouched, and no animal came near. She took a drone and sent it into the water. It dove 30 feet down, then stopped. The signal died. She pulled the drone up. Its frame had melted, except for the camera. The last image it captured showed something glowing deep in the lake, a shape, not human, not alien, something else. Back in Nevada, Dale had a dream. He stood on a mountain of stars, a blue sea spread before him. In it, thousands of eyes stared up, not human eyes, alien ones, watching, waiting. Then he heard a voice, not outside, but inside his mind. "You were never meant to die." He woke up gasping. The Karnox inside him pulsed once like a heartbeat, then calmed. He walked outside. The desert wind felt warm. too warm. He looked up. A strange object was falling from the sky. A probe. Military radar picked it up too late. The alien probe landed 10 miles away from the base. It opened immediately, crawling with tiny machines that looked like insects. Dale didn't wait. He ran. In minutes, he reached the site. The machines had already started digging into the earth, collecting samples. One of them turned and looked at him. It chirped. The rest turned. They attacked. Dale didn't move. The Carnox inside him reacted. A wave of blue light exploded from his skin. The machines shook and melted. He fell to his knees, breathing hard. "I didn't do that," he whispered. "It did." Dr. Monroe arrived with a team. The machines were gone. Only metal dust remained, but in the crater was something more, a small alien cube. Inside, they found data, symbols, videos. One showed a planet exploding after Carnox was used. Another showed a human from centuries ago, holding a glowing blade surrounded by blue mist. Dr. Monroe's hands shook. "These aren't just probes," she said. "They're memories, messages." "What are they trying to say?" Dale asked. She looked at him. "They're afraid of you." Commander Zerquen watched from orbit. His eyes burned. "This cannot continue. Carnox belongs to us. We made it. We command it." But deep in his ship, the Carnox reserves had begun glowing and shifting. Some of it had turned gold, the same way it did when touching human blood. Cals ran to him in panic. "It's too late. The liquid is no longer listening." Zerquen stared at the glowing tanks. And for the first time in his life, he felt fear. Back on Earth, Dale stood before a mirror. He was still human, but just barely. His heartbeat sounded like thunder in his chest. His eyes glowed softly in the dark. His skin didn't bleed anymore. It shimmered. He looked at his reflection and whispered, "What am I becoming?" The Carnox didn't answer, but it pulsed again, stronger than before. The stars outside the warship looked cold. Commander Zerquen stood alone in the dark chamber of his ship, watching Earth from orbit. His fists were tight. His long silver armor reflected the soft blue lights coming from the tank behind him. The Carnox. But something was wrong. The Carnox was glowing gold. He turned to Cals, his scientist, with rage in his voice. "Why is it changing?" Cals shook with fear. "It has touched too many humans. It learns. It listens to their biology." Zerquen stepped closer, his face hard like metal. "We created Carnox to destroy. Now it protects them." Cals looked down. "It seems they are not like the others. Maybe the liquid was meant for them all along," Zerquen growled. "Do not speak that lie." But deep inside he felt it too. Something was changing. Carnox was no longer a weapon. It had chosen humanity, and it was growing stronger. Down on Earth, Sergeant Dale Cross trained alone in a secret canyon. He punched through stone walls like they were paper. He leaped 30 feet into the air without effort, and his body, now fully bonded with Carnox, no longer needed rest, but he was afraid, not of death, of himself. Every night he saw strange dreams, visions of worlds he'd never been to, beings he couldn't name. And in every vision, a single shape stood at the center, blue, tall and watching. He spoke to Dr. Monroe often. "Something inside me is waking up," he said. Leah looked at the blood samples. "Your DNA is rewriting itself. You're not just changing, you're evolving." Dale looked at the sky. "And I don't know if that's good or bad." Far away in the Nevada desert, a secret alien gate activated. Zerquen had grown tired of waiting. He would bring fire to Earth. He stepped through the gate with 30 of his strongest warriors, covered in black Carnox-resistant armor. Their weapons hummed with deadly energy. Their orders were simple: find the humans who touched Carnox. Burn everything else. The first attack came without warning. A quiet research town in Arizona went dark. No calls, no signals. By the time a drone flew over, it saw only flames. In the middle of the destruction stood Zerquen. His soldiers moved fast, wiping every trace of human technology. They were looking for something, or someone. Zerquen looked up at the drone. His eyes burned red. "I see you." The drone exploded. Dale was already in motion. He felt the danger. Before the military even called, his Carnox pulsed inside him like it wanted him to go. He arrived at the edge of the destroyed town within an hour. The sand was black, buildings were ash, but something stood out. Blue fire. It burned cold. Like frozen light, he stepped closer and touched it. The fire faded instantly. Only Carnox-bonded humans could do that. That's when he heard the voice behind him. "You're not what I expected." Dale turned and saw Commander Zerquen for the first time. He stood tall, at least 8 feet. His armor was old, battle-scarred. His eyes were ancient and full of hate. Around him stood his warriors, weapons aimed. Dale clenched his fists. Carnox rippled under his skin. "You're the one behind all this," he said. Zerquen's voice was like thunder. "And you are the one ruining it." "I didn't ask for this. Neither did we. Carnox was created to wipe out weakness, but it bows to you." "Why?" Dale took a step forward. "Maybe you didn't create a weapon. Maybe you woke up something you didn't understand." Zerquen raised his hand. "Kill him." The alien warriors rushed forward. Dale didn't move at first. The Carnox inside him reacted like lightning. His body shot forward fast as a missile. He slammed into the first soldier, sending him flying into a wall. The second aimed a plasma rifle, but Dale dodged. Moving before the trigger was pulled, he grabbed the rifle, crushed it like paper, and knocked the alien out cold. But there were too many. One of them struck Dale from behind. He fell to one knee. Another kicked him hard in the chest. A third aimed a blade at his neck. Then, boom! A shockwave of blue light exploded from Dale. All the aliens around him flew back. Carnox had protected him again. Zerquen stepped forward, unshaken. "So, you've bonded completely." Dale stood, breathing heavy. "You talked like Carnox is yours." "It was, until you touched it." Zerquen pulled out his weapon, a spear made from pure black Carnox. "Let's see how strong you really are." The fight shook the canyon. Zerquen was, faster than Dale expected. He struck with precision, his spear cutting through air with deadly speed. But Dale was no longer human. He moved like a shadow, dodged, blocked, struck back. Fists met armor, sparks flew. Zerquen roared and struck Dale's side. The spear scraped his skin, but didn't cut. Dale spun, kicked the spear away, and punched the commander hard in the chest. Zerquen flew back, hitting a wall. The other aliens moved in again. Dale's eyes glowed brighter. He screamed, not in pain, but in command. Carnox exploded from his body in waves. The ground cracked. The aliens screamed as their weapons melted, their armor dissolved. Zerquen stood alone now. He looked at his own body. His armor was breaking, the Carnox inside it turning gold. "No," he whispered. "Not me." Dale walked forward slowly. "You thought Carnox was your creation," he said, "but it was always meant for something else." Zerquen fell to one knee. He looked up, defeated. "What are you?" Dale looked at his glowing hands. "I don't know." At that moment, high above Earth, something stirred. In the deep silence of space beyond the alien warships, a blue shape moved, not a ship, not a planet. Something older, watching, waiting. And as Dale turned to leave, the Carnox inside him whispered again, "The test has begun." The lab was silent. Dr. Leah Monroe stared at the glowing vial in her hand. Sergeant Dale Cross's blood. It no longer looked red. It was dark blue, pulsing softly like it had a heartbeat of its own. She'd seen many strange things in her life. But this was something different. Inside that vial was not just blood. It was a message, and it wasn't human. 2 days had passed since Dale fought the alien commander, Zerquen, in the canyon. Now, Zerquen was gone, vanished with the rest of his warriors. But he left something behind, a warning. "He's not the only one," Dale had said after the battle. "There are others, and they're coming." Leah ran every scan possible on Dale's blood. Every time she zoomed in, deeper and deeper, the molecules changed. They formed patterns, symbols, geometric shapes that shifted slowly like they were alive. Then she saw it. A blueprint, but not of a weapon, of a structure. Late that night, Dale sat alone on a hill outside the base. The sky above was full of stars. He looked up, quiet. The Karnox inside him had changed again. He could feel it. It didn't just respond to him anymore. It guided him, gave him memories that weren't his, faces he'd never seen, voices that whispered in his mind. "You're not just part of something," the Karnox whispered. "You are the start." He closed his eyes, and, for a moment he wasn't on Earth. He stood on a tall platform. Blue towers around him, strange writing on the walls, and below him thousands of people, or beings, looking up. He felt power, he felt fear, and he felt watched. The next day, Leah called him to the lab. "I found something," she said. He looked at the screen. It showed his blood cells forming the same structure again and again, like it was trying to tell them something. "What is that?" he asked. She shook her head. "I think it's a kind of map, but not for a location, for a machine." "A weapon?" "No," she said. "A gate." Dale's eyes narrowed. "A gate to where?" Leah didn't answer. She didn't know. But deep inside, Dale did. And that's when the power went out. The base fell into darkness. Sirens started blaring. Dale moved fast, reaching the control room. Soldiers were shouting, trying to restart systems. "Status!" he shouted. One of the officers turned. "Something's blocking our satellites. Something big. It's above the Earth." Dale looked at the sky. Then he felt it. A pulse. The Karnox inside him reacted like lightning. He stepped outside the base, staring up, and there it was, a ship, but not like Zerquen's. This one was massive, shaped like a floating city. Silent. No lights, no weapons shown. It just hovered, watching. Far above, deep inside the new ship, something ancient woke. Not a commander, not a soldier, but a guardian. Its body was metal and light, built by a long-dead race. It was not alive. Not in the way humans understood. It had no mouth, no eyes, but it could feel, and right now it felt fear. "Target located," it said in a voice made of static. It showed an image of Dale Cross. Then it added, "He has the key." Back on Earth, Dale's body tensed. The Karnox was warning him. "They've come to stop me," he whispered. Leah stood beside him. "Why?" He turned to her. "Because I unlocked something I wasn't supposed to." Suddenly the ground shook. From the sky, 6 beams of silver light struck the Earth. When the light faded, 6 strange beings stood there. They weren't like Zerquen's warriors. They didn't move like living things. They hovered. Their armor was smooth, no seams, no faces. Each held a staff made of white fire. They said no words. They walked toward the base. Dale stepped forward. The Karnox flared in his chest. The ground under his feet cracked. "Everyone fall back," he ordered. The soldiers moved. Leah stayed. Dale, he shook his head. "Whatever they are, they're not here to talk." The 6 beings raised their staffs. Blue lightning shot forward. Dale slammed his fist into the ground. A wall of Karnox energy rose around the base. The lightning hit the shield and stopped. The beings paused. Then one of them lowered its weapon. and spoke in a language no one knew. Dale's eyes widened. He understood it because Carnox was translating it in his mind. The being said, "You carry the first signal, return it, or be erased." Dale stepped forward. "I don't know what the first signal is." The being raised its staff again. "You are the signal. Your blood carries the code. You are the danger." Leah stepped beside Dale. "If he's the danger, then why hasn't he destroyed anything?" The beings didn't answer. They just moved closer. Dale closed his eyes and let Carnox take control. In a flash, he moved, faster than light. He reached the first being and struck, but his punch passed through it. It was like smoke and metal at once. The being raised its staff and slammed it down. A wave of energy hit Dale, sent him flying back. He hit the dirt hard. Leah screamed. He stood up barely. His eyes glowed like stars. "You want the signal?" he shouted. "Then take it." He held out his hand, and the Carnox inside him exploded into the air. The 6 beings froze. One by one, they stepped back, not in fear, but in recognition. One of them spoke again. "You are not the danger. You are the doorway." Then they vanished, like they were never there. Dale fell to his knees. His hands shook. "What does that mean?" he whispered. Leah ran to him. "You okay?" He nodded slowly, but deep inside something new was forming, a memory, a command, a location. The Carnox was guiding him now, showing him the next step. There was something buried beneath earth, something ancient waiting to be unlocked. Later that night, Dale sat with Leah in the lab. He pointed at the map forming in his blood samples. "This isn't just data. It's a key." "A key to what?" she asked. He looked at her. "To whatever they're all afraid of." In space, the giant ship turned. It did not attack. Instead, it sent a signal back into the stars, a message. The human holds the pattern. The gate is awakening. Far beyond, in a forgotten galaxy, more ships began to move. The old ones were returning, and Earth was no longer hidden. The plane shook as it flew over the South Pole. Sergeant Dale Cross looked out the window. All he could see was endless white snow and ice, but deep inside, he knew something ancient waited beneath it. The Carnox inside him pulsed louder with every mile. Dr. Leah Monroe sat beside him, holding a tablet. "This is the exact location your blood map pointed to," she said. "But nothing's there on satellite scans." "There's something under that ice," Dale replied. "And it's calling me." 2 hours later, the plane landed on a small research base near the bottom of the world. The sky was gray. The cold was sharp. Scientists greeted them with confused looks. "We haven't seen activity here in years," the lead researcher said. "What are you looking for?" Dale only said one thing. "A door." They traveled across the snow in tracked vehicles. For 3 days, the Carnox guided Dale. Every night, he dreamed of blue fire beneath the ice, of a giant gate buried below frozen mountains, of a voice that wasn't human but not evil either, a voice that simply waited. At last, on the 4th morning, Dale stood on top of a hill of solid ice. "It's here," he said. The scientists looked around. "It's just snow." Dale knelt down. He placed his palm against the ground. The Carnox inside him reacted. Blue energy spread through the ice like lightning. The snow cracked. Then, a deep rumble. The hill collapsed into a massive hole, and inside that hole, a glowing black wall appeared. A door. Everyone stared in silence. The wall was not made by humans. It was smooth and cold, yet it vibrated slightly like it was alive. Strange. Blue symbols glowed along the sides. Dale stepped forward. The wall responded, glowing brighter. Then, a line formed in the center. It slowly opened. No sound, just ice-cold wind. A tunnel was now visible, leading deep into the earth. Dale looked at Leah. "I have to go in." She grabbed his arm. You shouldn't go alone. He nodded. But I think I was meant to. Dale stepped into the tunnel. As he moved deeper, the walls lit up around him, reacting to his presence. The Karnox inside him was quiet now. It was no longer pulsing. It was listening. The tunnel led to a huge underground chamber, and in the center of it, a structure, massive, circular, floating just above the ground. It looked like a machine, but no parts moved. No lights blinked. It looked asleep. Symbols on. The walls matched those Leah saw in Dale's blood. This was it, the source of Karnox. But before he could move closer, he heard a sound behind him. Footsteps. Zerquen stepped from the shadows. His armor was cracked, his eyes darker than before. "You found it," he said. Dale clenched his fists. "I thought you ran." "I followed," Zerquen replied, "because I had to see it, the thing our people tried to bury." "You knew it was here?" Zerquen nodded. "My ancestors found it long ago. They feared it. So they created Karnox from it to control its power. But now I see. We were never its masters. We were its messengers." Dale took a step toward him. "You tried to kill me." "I tried to stop you," Zerquen said. "But it's too late. The gate is waking." Suddenly, the structure in the chamber began to glow. A low hum filled the air. The floor shook. The Karnox inside Dale lit up with gold and blue. Then a voice echoed through the chamber. Not male. Not female. Not a language anyone knew, but Dale understood every word. "You are the chosen vessel." Zerquen dropped to one knee, stunned. The voice continued. "You carry the key, the blood, the spark. We have waited across time. Now the signal is complete." A beam of light shot from the machine into Dale's chest. He screamed, but not in pain. Outside, Leah saw the ground tremble. The snow cracked around the hole. Lights flashed under the ice. Something was waking up. She grabbed a radio. "Something's happening. It's coming from deep under." Suddenly, a second hole opened up not far from the first, and something large began rising. Not a ship, not a monster, a pillar covered in glowing symbols. It rose slowly into the sky, humming with power, and far above, in orbit, more alien ships started arriving, not to attack, to witness. Inside the chamber, Dale stood still. The beam faded. His eyes glowed white. His voice changed. "I can feel everything," he whispered. "The stars, the machines, the history." He turned to Zerquen. "You didn't build this. No one did. It was always here, left behind by something older." Zerquen nodded slowly. "It's a memory machine." Dale looked at the pillar. Outside, still rising. "It's more than that. It's the first gate." Suddenly, Leah appeared at the tunnel entrance. "Dale, are you okay?" He turned. His face was calm. "I think I know what I am now." She stepped closer. "What do you mean?" He touched the floating machine beside him, and images appeared in the air. Holograms, planets, stars, ancient beings. Machines the size of cities. Wars, peace, death, rebirth. And at the center of it all, the blue liquid, Karnox, created not as a weapon, but as a test. The voice returned. "Karnox adapts to the worthy. It offers power, but only to those who carry balance. War is not the answer. Control is not the goal. Only understanding." Zerquen stepped back. "We failed the test." Dale nodded. "But humanity didn't." Leah's eyes widened. "So, we were meant to drink it?" Dale smiled slightly. "Yes, and we passed." Suddenly, alarms sounded from above. Leah checked her radio. "Military says something is entering Earth's atmosphere. Fast. Multiple objects." Dale's expression changed. He looked up. "They're not here to test us. They're here to destroy the gate." Zerquen growled. The enforcers, ancient guardians, they feared the gate would open again. Dale's voice was calm. Let them come. In the sky, huge, dark ships entered Earth's orbit. They were different, sharp, quiet, deadly. From them, giant mechanical beings fell through the clouds, heading straight for Antarctica. The ground around the pillar began to shake violently. The first of the enforcers landed outside the base. It was taller than a building, covered in silver armor, no face, just cold lights. It raised its weapon. Dale, Leah, and Zerquen rushed to the surface. The enforcer pointed its arm at the pillar and fired. A beam of black energy shot forward. Before it could hit, Dale raised his hand. A golden shield appeared in the air. The beam stopped. Dale stood strong, his body glowing like fire and lightning mixed. The Carnox inside him had fully awakened. He wasn't just a soldier anymore. He was something more. He turned to Leah. I have to protect the gate. How? He looked at his hands. I think it's not me protecting it. He looked at the pillar. It's protecting me. The other enforcers landed. More beams fired, but none broke the shield. Dale stepped forward. Each step shook the earth. Zerquen watched with wide eyes. You're becoming the gatekeeper. Dale smiled. No, I always was. The shield still shimmered in the cold air. Dale Cross stood before the massive alien enforcers, his hands glowing with the blue-gold light of Carnox. The ancient pillar behind him continued to rise, humming louder, sending waves of invisible energy into space. But Dale wasn't tired. He was focused. He was becoming something more. From miles away, satellites picked up a strange signal spreading from Earth. Not a sound, not a message. A pulse, steady, powerful, ancient. The scientists on Earth couldn't explain it. The generals feared it. But in deep space, others heard it, and they recognized it. In a faraway star system, a council of ancient beings stirred. Tall, thin creatures, with no mouths and glowing white eyes, stood around a crystal platform. One of them spoke in thought. The gate has opened. Another answered, the human has accepted Carnox. A third being lowered its head. Then the balance has shifted. They all turned toward a distant star chart, Earth's location blinking red. Send the final watchers. We must stop him before the signal completes. Back on Earth, Dale felt the pressure rising. He could hear everything now. The sky above, the ships waiting in orbit, the machines scanning him. The minds of the enforcers trying to understand his power. They didn't know what he was becoming. Neither did he. But the gate did. Leah Monroe stood behind him, eyes wide with fear and awe. Dale, she whispered. Your skin, it's changing. He looked down. The Carnox was no longer just inside him. It had started to wrap around him like armor made of living light. His veins pulsed blue. His heartbeat echoed through the ground. I'm not the same anymore, he said. She stepped forward. Are you still human? Dale didn't answer, but his eyes were clear. His heart was still his. The enforcers moved. One raised its cannon and fired. The beam hit Dale's shield again. This time, the shield cracked. Dale gasped. It's adapting, he said. They're learning. Zerquen appeared at his side. Then we must move first. Dale looked back at the pillar. It wasn't just a monument. It was a beacon, and it was charging something. Suddenly, Dale dropped to one knee, his vision blurred. Not from pain, but from too much information. Images rushed into his mind. Alien cities, strange languages, machines opening stars, planets collapsing, and one final image, a door in space, sealed by 6 glowing locks, and his blood was one of the keys. They're not here to kill me, he whispered. They're here to stop that door from opening. Leah knelt beside him. What's behind it? Dale looked up, eyes wide. I don't know. But whatever it is, they fear it more than they fear war. In orbit, Earth's defenses were useless. Ships from ancient races now circled the planet, each one waiting, watching, and one ship sent its own signal. A reply to the gate. It said, "Begin lockdown sequence. Back." On Earth, the pillar flashed red, then it stopped humming. The energy field faded, the sky turned dark. Dale felt it first. A heavy silence. He stood up slowly. "They're trying to shut it down," he said. "They're jamming the signal," Zarquen growled. "If the signal dies, now it may never wake again." Dale turned to Leah. "Then we send it ourselves." They rushed into the gate chamber under the ice. The ancient structure floated silently now, like it was asleep again. Dale placed his hand on the surface. The Karnoks responded. A spark lit up. The structure came back to life. And then it asked a question. "What are you?" Dale froze. He didn't know the right answer. He wasn't just a soldier anymore, not just a human. He whispered, "I'm the bridge." The gate accepted his answer. The pillar outside lit up again, stronger than before. This time the signal didn't just spread across space. It echoed backward in time. It moved through forgotten wormholes. Ancient sensors, long dead, flickered to life. It reached races who had stopped believing in the signal's return. In distant galaxies, beings knelt. On broken moons, machines rose again. In hidden stations, warnings blared. The human has activated the core. Zarquen looked up. "They are coming." Leah asked, "Who?" "Everyone." Back in the chamber, the floating structure began to spin. Energy coiled around Dale's arms, lifting him into the air. He didn't fight it. He opened himself to it. Suddenly, he saw through the gate's eyes. He saw all the other gates in the galaxy. Some broken, some still buried, some in space, forgotten. Each one was part of a network, a vast system that once connected millions of civilizations, and now they were waking up. Outside, the enforcers retreated. Their mission was no longer to destroy. Now it was to delay. Delay what? The return. From deep space, a massive rift opened, not a ship, a tear in space itself. From it, the final watchers arrived. They looked like shadows wrapped in stars. No bodies, just cold light. They didn't speak. They didn't threaten. They simply began falling toward Earth. Dale opened his eyes. He was glowing head to toe, but something inside him had changed. He looked at Leah and Zarquen. "The Karnoks wasn't made to be a weapon," he said. Leah nodded. "We know." He shook his head. "No. It was made to protect what's coming." Zarquen stepped back. "What's coming?" Dale looked to the sky. Something even the Watchers can't stop. Above, the final Watchers reached orbit. One of them sent a pulse toward the pillar. This time, the ground split. Ice cracked. Fire burst through the cracks. The ancient gate beneath began to open. Leah screamed. Zarquen shielded her. Dale stepped forward. The Karnoks around him shifted shape. It became wings, then armor, then light, and then it vanished into him. Now he was pure signal. The voice returned one last time. Gatekeeper confirmed. Connection stable. Prepare for arrival. Dale looked up and whispered, "Let it in." In deep space, a hidden gate responded. It opened slowly, and from it came a light so bright it blinded sensors across galaxies. A ship. No, something bigger than a ship. A being, alive, timeless, its name forgotten, but its purpose clear, to restore the balance. The Watchers stopped moving. For the first time, they hesitated. Dale stood between the pillar and the sky. He knew one thing now. He wasn't the end. He was the beginning. The sky above Earth glowed with colors never seen before. Blue and gold waves rippled across the clouds. The ancient pillar hummed louder than ever. And Dale Cross, now part human, part signal, stood between the old gate and the falling watchers. He didn't shake. He didn't blink. He just waited. Because he knew something else was coming. Far across the stars, on the edge of a forgotten galaxy, a dark planet turned slowly. It had no name, no cities, no light. But deep beneath its black surface, a race waited. They were not born, they were left behind. The Karnok's signal woke them for the first time in 1,000,000 years. Their eyes opened. Their leader, a creature of shadow and bone, stood tall in a chamber lit only by red crystals. It spoke in a voice that felt like broken metal and thunder. "The gates have opened. The key has returned." A second voice answered, "From the dark, shall we rise?" The leader stepped forward. Its long fingers touched a panel on the wall. Symbols appeared, not alien, not Karnoks. Older. Let the silence end. On Earth, Dale felt the moment it happened. He fell to one knee. His eyes turned black for a second. He saw a vision, a world wrapped in smoke. Creatures walking with blades made of memory, voices whispering in forgotten tongues. A name echoed in his. "Mine, the Nullborn," he gasped. Zerquen grabbed his shoulder. "What did you see?" "They're awake." "Who?" Dale stood slowly. A race even the Watchers are afraid of. Leah stepped forward, tablet in hand. Her hands trembled. I picked up something strange. A second signal. Not from Earth. Not from any known star system. It's old, cold, like it's been hiding. Zerquen's face darkened. The silence. Leah blinked. "What's that?" Zerquen spoke carefully. "A war so ancient, no one remembers how it started. Only that one race refused to stop. They were buried, sealed, left in the dark." He looked at Dale. The Karnoks wasn't just power. It was a lock, a way to keep the Nullborn asleep. But now, they were waking up. In orbit, the Watchers formed a ring around the planet. They weren't attacking. They were waiting. Dale stared at the sky. "Why aren't they moving?" Leah said softly. "Because they can't. The moment they strike, the Nullborn will see it as war." Zerquen nodded. "The Watchers follow rules. The Nullborn do not." The pillar behind them began to shift. A circle of symbols appeared. In the air, a map, not of stars but of locks. 7 total. 6 had now turned blue. Only 1 remained dark, the final lock. Leah read the data. "It's not on Earth." Dale pointed to a distant system on the map. "I know where it is. I saw it in the vision. It's the place they buried the last gate." Zerquen whispered, "You mean the dead sun?" The dead sun wasn't a sun anymore. It was a frozen star, a hollow shell where time moved slower. A prison built by lost technology, the last lock placed there, guarded by silence. Dale clenched his fists. "I need to go there." Leah looked at him. "How?" "We don't have a ship that can get you across the galaxy." Dale turned toward the pillar. "I think we do now." The ground shook. The pillar opened. A pod rose from the base, metal smooth as water, glowing softly. It looked small, simple. But Dale felt it. Inside was a pathway, a folded gate, a jump beyond normal space. He stepped toward it. Zerquen grabbed his arm. "If you leave Earth now, we cannot protect it." Dale nodded. "I'm not going to protect Earth. I'm going to protect everything." The Karnoks inside him pulsed. The pod opened. Dale stepped inside. The door closed. Leah ran up. "Dale, wait." He smiled at her. "I'll come back. Just don't let them lose hope." The pod launched, straight into the sky. No fire, no sound, just light. Then it vanished. In deep space, Dale appeared above the dead sun. The star was cracked and hollow. Around it floated shattered moons and burned satellites. The last gate floated in orbit, black and broken. But Dale didn't need it to work. He was the key now. He flew toward it. But halfway there, something moved in the dark. The null-born ship was massive, not smooth like the Watchers. It was jagged, twisted, as if it had been grown from fear. It opened slowly, like a wound. Dale stopped mid-flight. His Karnok's armor sparked. From the ship, a figure stepped out. No face, no eyes, just shifting darkness. But Dale heard its voice. "You broke the seal." Dale didn't speak. The creature raised its hand. "You carry what we created and lost. Give it back." Dale narrowed his eyes. "No." The creature smiled, just slightly. "Then we take everything." The gate behind Dale cracked. The final lock glowed. Dale spread his arms. Blue fire wrapped around him. The Karnoks roared, but the Nullborn weren't afraid. They charged back. On Earth, Leah watched the map. The seventh lock flickered. Then it turned blue. The gate was fully open, but she didn't smile, because another signal appeared. Red, twisting, hungry. Zerquen stared at it. "They're not coming," Leah whispered. "They're already here." Across Earth's sky, stars dimmed. The Nullborn were coming, but the pillar kept glowing, and Dale was still fighting in the dark. The stars above Earth were dying, one by one. Their light faded. The Nullborn had arrived, not in ships, not in fire, but in silence. Space bent around them. Satellites cracked without reason. Time slowed in some places, and in others, it rushed forward. People looked up and saw the sky shiver, and deep beneath the planet's surface, the old Karnok's pillar pulsed, warning Earth that the final war had begun. Leah Monroe stood in the command chamber, eyes locked on the map. Red dots filled the galaxy. Every system touched by the Nullborn was now silent. But the center of it all remained blue. Earth. Not because Earth was safe, but because Dale Cross was no longer just human. He was the last gate. Far across the galaxy, near the dead sun, Dale floated between a dying star and the black gate. His body shimmered with light, not skin, not armor. He had become something else, a being made of signal, memory, and choice. The Nullborn surrounded him. They didn't speak. They waited, and their leader, taller than the rest, wrapped in shadow so dense they bent light, stepped forward. It reached toward Dale. "You are not ready." Dale didn't answer. Instead, he opened his hand, and the gate responded. Back on Earth, Leah saw it happen. The gate on Earth and the one near the dead sun lit up together. A bridge formed between them, something not even the Karnoks had done. "In their golden age," Zerquen gasped. "He's linking the gates, all of them. But why?" Leah asked. Zerquen looked toward the sky. To make a choice no one else could. Inside the bridge, Dale felt everything. Every memory from the Karnoks, every mistake the ancient races made, every war, every peace, every lie. He saw why the Nullborn had been locked away. They were not evil. They were final. Their purpose was to end, to erase, to clean the board. They were the answer to endless war. But that answer came at a price. All life. The Nullborn leader stepped closer. "You are the last key. Open the end, and it will be quick." Dale looked into its eyes. If they even were eyes. "I won't open the end." The creature tilted its head. "You already did." The moment you awakened Karnoks, the balance shifted. Dale's voice was calm. "Then I'll shift it again." He raised both hands. The gates across the galaxy began to spin. The locks reopened, but instead of letting the Nullborn spread, Dale reversed the signal. Leah saw it first. The pillar on Earth spun backward. The blue turned white. Zerquen screamed. "What is he doing?" She whispered. "He's locking the gate from the inside." Inside the signal, Dale began to vanish, piece by piece, not dying, merging. He was becoming the system, the gate network, the code, the wall between life and death. He looked at the nullborn leader one last time. I don't fear silence. The creature lunged. Too late. The gates closed. Across the universe, every signal faded, every Karnok's beacon died, and the nullborn, gone. On Earth, the sky lit up one final time. Then, quiet. No more red dots on the map, just stars, whole, untouched, safe. Leah fell to her knees. Zirquen closed his eyes and bowed. He became more than Karnox, more than human, she whispered. He became the wall that holds the dark back. Years passed, then decades. The story of Dale Cross spread across systems, not as a soldier, not as a killer, but as a sacrifice. The human who looked at the end of all things and chose life. But deep in space, on a forgotten world, a small Karnox. Gate blinked once, a single spark, then a voice, faint but human. Still here,